a small bakery located inside the subway station. Coffee and pastry taste pretty high quality no matter where you go here. Today, I'm off on Impressionist tour plus Versailles. The morning sunlight puts me in a great mood. The village is so quiet, peaceful, and serene. So, there is a story. If you touch the paintbrush in his hand, you will get artistic inspiration. Well then, I'm gonna touch it too.
Like how a bird takes to the trees.
Starry, starry night. Paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills. Sketch the trees and the daffodils. Catch the breeze and the winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land.
After exploring the whole village, we had a packed lunch by the river nearby. There was no wind, the sun was warm, the village calm and quiet. It was perfect. Now off to Giverny to visit the home of Claude Monet, the master of Impressionism. Monet is my favorite painter. The doors and windows of the house are painted green. At first, it felt like waterproof paint on a house, but the color blends beautifully with the garden. Still looks like waterproof paint though. And here is the water garden, where Monet created over 250 water lily paintings. The grounds are massive and the palace itself is huge and gorgeous. The paintings are so detailed. The force and textures of the clothes feel so real, you can almost guess the fabric. You can imagine hosts and nobles strolling down this ground road. It's so wide and open from the palace gate. Crop crop. It looked massive up close. Even though Google Maps says it was open, it was closed today. Then as it is the tomb of the unknown soldier from World War I, and there is a memorial ceremony held every day.
진짜 귀여워. 쟤네 왜 저렇게 걸어? 아 진짜 귀여워.
맞아. 무슨 맛이지? 감자 좋아해. 아, 감자 맛있어. 엄청 짭짤해가지고 간이 다 돼. 까르보나라 같은데요? 아니요, 고르곤졸라. 맛이 확 나요. 먹으라면 또 먹어요. 맛있다. 짭짤한 맛이다. 소고기보다 맛있는 맛. 약간 오리니까 껍질이 더 튀기긴 하죠. 약간 단맛도 있는데 꿀을 뿌려주셨나?
mettre de petits déguisements Hermione, je te mets...
On a avancé, hein.
Alors tu le remets sur tes épaules.
Et regardez, Zied.
Still can't get used to the downstairs bathroom. We finally met Remy the rat. I was worried I wouldn't see him.
쥐 있어. 진짜 커. 우와. 보이냐? 그래요? 지금?
Je me prépare à toute allure. Mon sac et mon pull à rayures. Je tourne la clé dans la serrure. Et tu m'attends.
1 heure pour sortir de Paris. On met le cap sur la Normandie. Laissons la ville et ses soucis.
Il était temps. Aujourd'hui le ciel est d'azur. Et je retire mes chaussures. Le vent chahute ma coiffure. Et je déboucle ma ceinture. De la vie des allégresse, de l'ivresse à tes caresses. Caresse à l'ivresse, faut qu'un mur se dresse pour mourir en Mercedes. Jeux interdits dans la voiture. Nos cœurs.
네.
망고 잘라주는 데 있잖아.
뭐야? 무슨 뇌야? 뭔 뇌야? 그러게.
Do you like oysters? Or is it too early?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
먹은 건데 찍어도 돼요?
본수.
Merci quand même. Merci.
오. 근데 딱딱하지가 않은데?
완전 쫀.
진짜.
진짜 똑같죠?
오, 그리고 그 술
맛이
맛나.
확 나죠?
응. 아, 되게 낱개로도 있어요.
그러니까 이거 낱개로 이렇게 해가지고 먹으니까
아. 여기 있다. So many runners. I hate running. 이게 너무 싫은데.
Ne me parle pas de sentiments. Je sais déjà qu'on se mentirait. T'es bien meilleur quand tu fais semblant derrière l'écran, plutôt qu'en vrai. Tu dis j'aime, qu'est-ce que t'aimes vraiment? Tu confonds le cœur et l'intérêt. Si tu veux jouer au compliment, fais-le plus fort que je le fais. Je t'ai tellement regardé sans rien dire. J'aurais pu compter tous tes atouts. Je voudrais m'en aller mais j'ai rien à fuir. J'étais dans la peau comme un hémato qui sait réparer les gens qui se brisent.
손에
이거는 카레랑 약국이 있는 거 같아. 맛있다.
무조건 좋아. 오징어 좋아하세요. 고명석 감사해요.
와, 꿀이 미쳤다. 진짜 달다.
와, 꿀인데요, 그냥?
아니, 꿀이 이렇게 새어 나오는 게 대박이다. It's Gothic architecture reaching straight up to the sky. So beautiful. When you go up to the second floor, it's like a jewelry box filled with precious gems. Next stop, a department store with a rooftop that gives you a panoramic view of Paris. Galeries Lafayette. The entrance looks just like any other department store, but it's actually built in the Art Nouveau style. The huge stained glass dome in the center is absolutely stunning.
Qui des sauvages désorientés s'emmène en safari lunaire, l'eau disait soudaine, escale balnéaire, atmosphère bleu Neptune, loin de chez le soleil, la lune.
Back at the hotel, packing up because I'm leaving Paris on an early flight tomorrow. Ghost hunters. I think I need my mommy and daddy to sleep together. So, where am I heading next? revoir, Paris. Olá, bom dia, Porto.